Hey guys, it's Gracie from the Archer and Olive Ambassador team, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create a concert log in your bullet journal. So I'm a really big concert and music festival goer, and I love to keep track of all the concerts that I go to in my bullet journal. And as the concert and festival season approaches for the spring and summer, I thought it would be the perfect time to show you the way that I track my concerts in my journal. For this project, I'm going to be using my own bullet journal, which is the A5 size, but the biggest thing to keep in mind with this project is that it's best to use a dot grid journal. You could probably do it using a lined or a blank page notebook, but the dot grid is going to make it a lot easier to draw in the table that we're using for this project. I will say, if you're not interested in actually drawing out this table, I've made a little printable for you to use that is the spread that I'm going to be showing that you can print out and fill it in by yourself at home instead of having to draw in all of the lines in your journal. The printable is linked on the blog post associated with this video, so you can check it out on the Archer and Olive website. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the Archer and Olive channel for more tutorials and inspiration. And with that being said, let's head over to my desk so I can show you how to create this cute little concert log for your bullet journal. Okay, so here we are at my desk, and I'm going to first go through a list of things you'll need to do this project. The first thing is, of course, a notebook. I'm going to be using an A5 journal from Archer and Olive. And like I said at the beginning of the video, for this spread, it's really important that you have a dot grid notebook. The dot grid makes drawing tables so much easier, so I always recommend that people have something like this to do a table or graph spread. Then you're going to need some pens. So I'm using some fine liners, and I'll probably also be using some of the Archer and Olive gel pens and maybe some other markers as well. And the last thing you should definitely have on hand is a ruler or other straight edge, of course, just for drawing straight lines. So here we have my bullet journal, and I already sketched out what this spread is going to look like. So you can see the table down here, and I just did a cute little header at the top. So before I start doing any of the inking, I'm going to talk you through what this table entails. So because I'm a big concert goer, as you can tell here by some of my merch pin collection, I like to track a lot of different things when it comes to concerts. It's not just like the singer and the date that the concert was. So the way that I like to track concerts is in 8 different details. This first column is the date, and then this one is the show. So that is not always like the headliner artist. Sometimes like the name of the tour is different from just the artist's name. For example, like Taylor Swift's tour was called the Eras Tour, so that's the name of the show. And if the show didn't have a specific name itself, I'll just write the headliner there. This column is for the headliner, and then this column is for the opener or multiple openers. And then on this side of the page, this column is for the city that the concert was in, because I do travel a lot to go to concerts. And then this column is for the venue, so the name of the stadium or the arena or the club that the artist was playing at. This column is where I write who I attended the concert with, so if I went with friends or if I went with family or my boyfriend, I write that down here. And then I always like to leave one column on the end for notes or extras, and those are usually like little details or small memories from the concert that I want to remember, like unique things that don't happen at every show. For example, if the artist brings out a special guest, or if our seats get upgraded, or if I ran into somebody that I know, I always like to have a space to write down memories like that. If you're using an A5 notebook like me, I will let you know the dimensions of this grid. So you can make it as tall or as short as you want, depending on how many concerts you usually go to in a year. I go to a lot, which is why I leave a lot of space, and I do a pretty thin header at the top. This grid that I drew here is 30 squares tall. And as for the width of each of the columns, the date column is 3 squares across, the show is 8, headliner 8, opener 8, city 5, venue 5, who I attended with 9, and notes 8. You can kind of adjust those depending on how much you want, but that is usually what works for me with this spread. So the first thing that I'm going to do is grab my straight edge and a fine liner, and I am just going to do the outline of this table as well as the up and down column markers. A really small detail that I like to add is I like to make the corners of my tables or charts rounded. It's really just an aesthetic preference. I just think that it looks cute. And when I draw the column markers, I'm not extending the line up into the category bar, just because I like how it looks when it's cleaner. Once you have your table in, you can choose to add in the horizontal lines if you want. I don't always do the horizontal lines in black because sometimes I feel like it makes it a little bit too busy and hard to read. So my favorite trick for doing that is make the column markers in black, but do the horizontal lines in a lighter color. I think today I'm going to go for a light orange because it will be easy to see and it will help when I'm writing things down inside the table, but it won't be too overwhelming. I hate drawing lines like this. It's so like like meticulous to me and I don't like doing it, but I do think it really makes a difference in the end. So I suck it up and I do it anyway. Another way that you could differentiate the horizontal lines instead of doing a baseline like this would be to use a light colored marker and fill in each row horizontally, like alternating 2 or 3 different colors, almost like you're highlighting the entire line. Or when you write in the page, you could alternate the color of your pen on each line. You can do it lots of different ways. Now that we have our little table, I'm gonna work on my header. So I just doodled a little header that is in my style, but if you're adding the spread into your journal during a specific month, you could totally adapt it to whatever theme you have going on at the time. Since this is more of like a year-long spread for me, I'm just doing it in my own personal art style, but feel free to do it in any way you like. I mentioned in the intro of this video that I made this spread into a printable that you could download and print out if you don't want to draw the table yourself in your journal. I will say that the printables are downloadable as a PDF, so even if you didn't want to print it out and use it, you could actually also just use it digitally on your computer by editing the PDF, or you could do both. I'm somebody that likes to have both digital and physical written records of a lot of things, so I actually also have a spreadsheet on my computer of all the concerts that I've been to, but I like to add them to my bullet journal for a yearly log as well. This spread could also be adapted for different types of entertainment. You could make the same spread for seeing movies in the movie theater, or if you're somebody that likes to watch live theater, you could do it for musicals or plays. One of the reasons why I like to track all of these things in my bullet journal is because at the end of the year, I love to be able to go back and tally different types of statistics. At the end of the year, I'll do a recap where I see what percentage of shows I went to were certain genres, like I'll divide it up by pop, rock, EDM. I'm just somebody that loves to be able to track stuff like that, so spreads like these make it really easy. If you're an avid concert goer as well, I would love to hear what your favorite concerts are that you've been to, or which ones you have up and coming in the next year. Just last weekend, I saw Casey Musgraves, and it was my, I think, 5th time seeing her. She's one of my favorite artists to see live. She just makes an amazing show. And I think this most recent time was my favorite time I've ever seen her live. My other favorite artists that I've seen live are, of course, Taylor Swift. My favorite EDM artist, Porter Robinson, is amazing. I also love the California Honey Drops, who I've seen, I think, twice now. Okay, now I'm gonna erase a lot of my pencil sketching here, and then I'm gonna go in with some markers just to fill in some cute color. I showed right here, these are some of my pins. When I go to concerts, I love to look at the merch. A lot of the time, merch is so expensive, especially at concerts and festivals. And I'm not a big, like, apparel merch person. Like, I don't usually buy t-shirts or, like, sweatshirts, but I do collect enamel pins and buttons like this. So I always look to see if the artists have any pins or buttons in their merch collection, because those always tend to be my favorites. They're small, they're less expensive, and I have a little backpack that I keep all of my pins on, and they look so cute all together. So I would love to hear in the comments, if you love to go to concerts, what type of merch you like to buy from the artists. You can also let me know if you are somebody who likes big, like, stadium arena shows, or if you're somebody who likes to try smaller venues out. I tend to like both. I feel like some of my favorite artists will do big arena tours just because they're more popular, but I also have to say I love discovering artists for the first time at their concerts. I feel like seeing live music is such a great way to find new artists that you're interested in. I think I'm gonna grab one of the gel pens out of here. I think I'm gonna go for this bright green color to be the word concert. Oh my god, it's like neon. Oh my god, I love it. This is one of my favorite reasons to use gel pens, because the ink tends to be so opaque, and also it usually gives a kind of shiny effect on the page. Like, this is so fluorescent green, and I feel like you usually can't achieve this same kind of like pigmentation with a regular marker. They just like don't get this bright. This is always my favorite part of doing a journal spread once I've already done all of the line art, which I famously do not enjoy doing, but doing the coloring in is like always my favorite part, because it's just like being a kid and coloring in a coloring book, but it's a coloring book that I made for myself. One of my favorite color combinations is combining a super bright, even fluorescent, like neon, like this color with something that, I mean, not that this is muted yellow color, but something that is a little bit more, I don't know, earth tony or just like muted. I feel like it's such a nice color combination because you get that really punchy bright color, but then you can also offset it with something that looks a little bit more like, I don't know, a color that I would consider like wearable or usable. Now I'm just going to quickly pick out some colors to do the rest of my little doodles on this page. Like I said before, you could totally do whatever types of doodles you want. You could totally doodle like some little concert imagery, like a little ticket or a seat or a wristband or like a microphone or some instruments or something. That could be super cute. Like I said, this is just my little style that I wanted to do this in just because I love drawing in this style and it's so fun. But totally feel free to use this part to be creative and use whatever fonts you like. You could do some hand-lettered calligraphy, and then you could do some doodles, whatever you want. So now that I have my little header filled in, I'm just going to do my finishing touch, which is I'm going to fill in this title bar and then write in the name of each column. I'm just using a big marker, and I'm going to go over it in black. You can do whatever color you want. You could leave it white. You do whatever you want, but I'm going to do black, and then I'm going to use one of the gel pens to go on top and write in the name of each of the columns. That's the good thing about using gel pens as well, because you can usually use them to write over lots of different materials underneath. I've always had the best luck using them to write on top of paint pens. As long as it's in thin layers, it usually works out really well. And that is my cute little concert log all complete. This is what it looks like blank. I am going to fill in all of the concerts that I've been to this year just so you can see what it looks like when it's a little bit more filled in. This is in my 2024 journal, of course, which is why I'm going to be adding my 2024 concerts. But you could do it for 2025. You could just do it for the summer. You could do it for a certain month. You can do it however you want. Okay, and here is my final little filled in concert log. I am so happy with how this came out. It's so cute. It's so me. It's so vibrant. And I love it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while we made this cute little concert log. If you want some of the follow-up written instructions for how to make this spread, or if you want my personal dimensions for the table, those are in the blog post that I wrote for this video, as well as the printable version of this spread. If you want to see some more from me on my own creative journey, you can follow me on my personal pages, which is at Gracie Creates on YouTube and Instagram, and at Groovy Gracie Creates on TikTok. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!